as decided earlier, we have already, sir, circulated the press release and all the important data this morning. So all the media persons have already got it. To save time and to be more focused and more productive session in this press conference, we will straight away take questions. But before that, I will request the Honorable Minister to have a few opening remarks, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Rajiv, thank you very much. I want to start by wishing all of you a very happy new year. I would have preferred to have this interactive session with you a few days earlier, but we are not exactly in control of our time. Let me start by introducing my colleagues who are present here today and whom I will encourage also to interact with you. I have Secretary Mr. Durga Shankar Mishra, Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. On my right, Rajiv Jain, whom you all know. Mr. Rizvi, who is the Additional Secretary there. Then my other colleagues who are the Joint Secretaries and respective project directors. I just want to make two comments by way of an introduction. The pandemic did not slow us down in terms of our activities. In fact, if you look at our flagship programs, their delivery has, if anything, been accelerated on account of the pandemic. That is partly, and I want to provide a perspective, partly because the flagship programs were already in a very advanced stage of implementation. And I mean the Swachh Bharat Mission, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Amrut, all of them have done already very well since the time of their inception in June 2015. And if anything, the pandemic drove home to us the point that we needed to accelerate some aspects. But the more important point, I think, is that we learned a few lessons. That just as we benefited from the fact that the flagship programs had reached a level of maturity, I mean the Swachh Bharat Mission in particular, we also realized that there were some segments of our society which were more vulnerable, which made us, no, मैं आपको request करूँगा, block नहीं करिए, लेकिन हो गया, आप photographs हो गई, अगले 5-10 मिनट में मेरी शक्ल बदलने वाली नहीं है, बैठिए आप साइड पे हो जाइए. And this, but there were some people who still needed relief over and above those who wanted a title. And this is what led us to conceptualize and quickly put together an affordable rental housing scheme. And I think that's doing exceptionally well. Then we also realized that some of the people had been more severely impacted by the pandemic, and here I mean the street vendors. And the Prime Minister, his idea and inspiration, we decided that 50 lakh street vendors would be benefited through a system of microfinance and social and financial inclusion, drawing on best practices all over the world, where they would be given loans up to 10,000, but the loan itself was part of a larger inclusion scheme of the scheme as originally envisaged. We are already improvising and putting in successor schemes. For instance, if the Swachh Bharat Mission meant India being declared ODF, much to my regret, I wish there was one state which had acted faster, but I think we're getting there with them. But we are moving ahead, ODF plus, ODF plus, all those protocols you are familiar with. But we're also now looking at how these schemes will dovetail into the future as part of this overall urban rejuvenation, if I may call it that. By and large, I think the challenges that we faced, we not only met those challenges, but as the saying goes, when the tough gets going, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I think the officials of this ministry, the state governments and all the stakeholders have clearly demonstrated that they were not only up to meeting the challenges. I mean, the smart city command and control centers became like war rooms to deal with the pandemic, over 50 of them. All those details are with you. I'm going to conclude and then we will, unless Secretary wants to make any comments, we will open up to questions straight away. We have about 45 minutes or so, and I think that will leave us enough time.
Just a request, if you can raise your hand and also identify yourself before you ask a question, it will be easier. Yes, Ananya, you can start with. Ananya from Indian Express. Can somebody help her with the mic, please? Somebody from Habitat Center? Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Hello, sir. Actually, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
I had various questions on the Central Vista project. In the press release, it says that by next year, the project will be, like the Republic Day will be held in the redeveloped avenue. So I had to ask the tenders for the redevelopment, like if a winner has been announced, like if a company has been given the tender for the redevelopment of that. My next question is that what is the plan for regarding the Central Vista project for the next year? So what are the certain...
Okay, I think maybe I'll spend a minute or so giving you an overall picture. The Central Vista is the overall project. Within that, there are several individual segments. And we are going about this very systematically. The first segment is for which a tender has been awarded, is the work relating to the construction of the new Parliament complex. Again, just to give you a little bit of history, the timeline on that is dictated by the fact that we want to, this is the Prime Minister's announcement, and we draw inspiration from that when India celebrates the 75th year of our independence, the celebrations on October 22 will be in the new Parliament building. So that is the timeline for that. Again, by way of background, very briefly, the current building was constructed 93 years ago. And if you look at the history of that period, the written history, all the commentary, it was never designed to be the home or to house the legislature of an independent country. In fact, 93 years ago when it was constructed, the independence of India was not even in the minds of those. In fact, if you remember, Mahatma Gandhi there was an Indian National Congress which had been established, if I remember correctly, in 1885. It was an elite lawyers movement, but it was the Mahatma who came back from South Africa and galvanized it by producing the link between elitist lawyers, okay, and the masses by starting mass movements, etc. But 1919, it was too early to think of independence. It came much later, even the thinking. So when we became an independent country, as all independent countries, you need a new home for your legislature. Some countries got it in 20, 25 years, some took 60. So I think it's about time. And this demand for a new parliament building has been around for a very long time. I mean, I have in my previous, first of all, the demand has to come from those who are the users. So apart from the presiding officers of the two houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, who had sense of the House resolutions recently, also the demand came as long ago as 2012, when the then presiding officer, Mrs. Meera Kumar, her secretary wrote to the secretary's predecessor then, I think Dr. Sudhir Krishna, if I remember correctly, 2012. Other people have been asking for it. Other segments are, one, I think the tender has been announced for the widening of the Rajpath. That is another piece of work. Similarly, we'll go systematically. So there's no one date for the completion of the overall. I mean, the whole project, I personally believe, I think should be completed by 5 to 6 years, by 2025. That would be a reasonable vision. The way we are going about it in terms of clear segment identification, work to be done, the emphasis is on being able to do this in the most environmentally friendly manner by observing the highest standards of environmental protection, and also by minimizing the dislocation. So In other words, some people will have to move to temporary accommodation so that the hutments and others are removed and, buildings can be constructed there. But most people working in government offices will do just one shift from where they are presently to their new shift. I'm going to stop there, and if Secretary wants to, I think he might want to add some things to the Central Vista project.
I think you have already given answer to the most of it. Only one additional information I would like to add is this: you are wanting information regarding Central Vista Avenue. The work is about to be awarded. You are aware that the tender has been floated, differential bids have come out, some formalities of the works committee and this, that. I mean, there is a internal examination, all those after that. The work will be awarded very soon, and work will commence, you see, till 29th of January, rather 30th of January. The Vista is not available for any work, but definitely the work will commence on 1st of February, and our target will be to finish it by October, November, so that the next year's 22, that is the year Honorable Minister said it is the 75th year of Indian independence, 22 Republic Day parade is on the new Vista. So you'll have a completely, a new shape of the Vista, which will come in the next 10 to 12 months. We have planned to the extreme details which work will start, when will it start, and how these things are going to manage. Because a lot of detailing is to be done. It's not so simple. Because the Central Vista is this area, there so many people are working, so we don't want any kind of inconveniences. The inconveniences will definitely be there, but not large amount of inconveniences, so that it can be absorbed and the work is completed in time.
But the name Rajpath will change.
No, it will remain at Rajpath. It is the Central Vista. Rajpath is the name of the road. The Central Vista comprises of many things, including Rajpath. So basically, it will be relayed in a new form.
Broadening, relaying, etc.
Question was the name, the avenue.
Yeah.
It is the Central Vista Avenue. It is called the Central Vista Avenue. Central Vista is the area, and Central Vista Avenue is that Rajpath
See, let
and
me
the green surrounding.
say there's a little bit of linguistic issue here. We talk of a Central Vista project. That project means Parliament, it means the broadening of the avenue, it means new executive block, new defense block, 8 government buildings, etc. Insofar as Central Vista Avenue is concerned, as Secretary said, I think 3 or 4 or 5 days ago, I saw a news report that the tender has been opened. I think the processing would be going on. Short point, we can't start the work till this year's Republic Day parade is over, and we have to complete it before next year's Republic Day parade. Simple.
जी मंत्री जी, हमारा सवाल आपसे है कि ये जो प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना है,
जी।
तो इस साल में अब तक आपने टारगेट में कितने मकान दे दिए हैं, और जो टारगेट था वो पूरा हुआ कि नहीं?
महोदय, टारगेट 1,12,00,000 का है। जब ये स्कीम की शुरुआत हुई थी जून 2015 में, उस समय टारगेट शायद 1 करोड़ था। फिर इसको रिवाइज किया गया, डिमांड असेसमेंट की गई। मैं आपको ये जानकारी देना चाहता हूं कि टारगेट हम कैसे सेट करते हैं। हम जो स्टेट से डिमांड आती है हमारे पास, उसको एग्रीगेट करते हैं, ठीक है। हम अपनी कोई इंडिपेंडेंट सर्वे नहीं करवा रहे हैं, हम उसको क्रॉस चेक करते हैं। और ये 4 जो वर्टिकल्स हैं, उसमें सब मिला के अब जो रिवाइज डिमांड असेसमेंट है 1,12,00,000 की है। और जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, 1,09,00,000 ऑलरेडी सैंक्शन हो चुके हैं। और इसका मैकेनिज्म ये है कि हमारे मंत्रालय में सचिव दुर्गा शंकर जी की अध्यक्षता में एक कमेटी है, वो हर महीने मीट करती है। कभी कभी क्योंकि जैसे कोविड के कारण शायद 1 महीने मीटिंग नहीं हुई। मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि ये जो 1,09,00,000 अभी किए हैं, 3 लाख जो बाकी हैं, अगले 1-2 महीनों में इसकी डिमांड जो मैं देख रहा हूँ, मैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के साथ मेरी भी जो बातचीत चलती रहती है, ये पूरी हो जाएगी। और ये जो टेक्नोलॉजी हम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, जो 70 लाख आवास जो जिन पे काम चालू है, जो टेक्नोलॉजी इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, वो सारे जो है वेरी सून ये दिस फिगर 70 lakhs विल इवन गो अप। क्योंकि आप देखिए 40 लाख तो लाभार्थियों को मिल चुके हैं, बाकी 70 लाख है, तो
30 लाख और बचे।
30 लाख जो बाकी बचे हैं, वो एकदम अगले आने वाले महीनों में एक बारी उस पर जब निर्णय लिया जाएगा, तो ये 2022 का जो हमारा डेट है, मुझे लगता है टाइम से पहले ही ये सब सैचुरेट हो जाएगी डिमांड।
पुरी साहब, यस, हैप्पी न्यू ईयर आपको।
मैं दो तीन चीज
आप प्लीज कहाँ से आप हैं प्लीज कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई योरसेल्फ?
मैं प्रदीप कुमार, मैं फाइनेंशियल जर्नलिस्ट हूँ।
ओके
ये मेरे को ये दो तीन चीज जानना जरूरी है। एक तो आपने बोला है कि जो मतलब लॉकडाउन के टाइम पर, पैंडेमिक के टाइम पर कोई प्रोजेक्ट आपको रुकावट नहीं हुए। मजदूर सब भाग गए थे दिल्ली से, बड़े बड़े शहर से, तो प्रोजेक्ट वहाँ पे रुका है कि नहीं, हाउ डू नो इट, और कैसे काम अभी चल रहा है वो भी आप मेरे को कुछ। अच्छा, दूसरा चीज है, सेकंड पॉइंट इज है, बोला है मेट्रो की भी आपने बहुत दिन तक रोक के रखे थे, मेट्रो भी लॉजिंग में जा रहा है, इट इज फाइनेंशियली गेटिंग वेरी। द थर्ड पॉइंट इज ए सेंट्रल विस्टा में आपने पैसा जुटाने के लिए कोई बात ही नहीं की, वो पैसा कहाँ से जुटा रहा है, देश के भीतर से, इंटरनल और ओवरसीज से भी।
Okay, three questions as I can make out, or if there's something, I think Secretary will help me. पहला सवाल तो आपने ये पूछा कि मैंने कहा कि पेंडेमिक के कारण रुकावट नहीं हुई। मैं ये पूरे साल का ओवरऑल पिक्चर ले रहा था, ठीक है। लॉकडाउन हमारे यहाँ अनाउंस हुआ था 23 मार्च पे, तो अप्रैल मई से there was disruption of migrant labor going away, etc. But let's not take a Delhi-centric view. Much of the projects which were under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, these are projects in different states. And by the time we reached the month of August, September, much of the people who had left their project, मैं आपको एक project के बारे I can go into details, under the other ministry which I have the privilege of dealing with, Commerce and Industry, वहाँ पे we have a huge project called the ITPO project. तो ITPO project में जो labor थी, वो जब lockdown हुआ तो उसमें कुछ देर तो रही, उसके बाद चले गए थे. But I can tell you that a few months ago, we had more than 95% of the labor had already come back. So whatever work delays that took place on account of the migrant workers, we have tried to make up for that. In the overall numbers for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and your question was centered there, there has been no slippage. The individual project may have got delayed for a little while, but दूसरी बात है, प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना में 4 वर्टिकल्स हैं. इन सिटू स्लम रिहैबिलिटेशन, जैसे दिल्ली में 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, वैसे थोड़ी सी वहाँ पे कोविड के कारण स्लो डाउन हुई है. वी लॉस्ट अ लिटिल टाइम, बट वी आर होपिंग टू मेक अप. बेनिफिशियरी लेड कंस्ट्रक्शन, नॉट मच इम्पैक्ट. जो CLSS है, इंटरेस्ट सबवेशन, जो आप बैंक से कंसेशनल रेट पे लोन मिलता है, उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा. अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग प्रोजेक्ट के हैं, वी हैव डन एन ओवरऑल व्यू. एज आई सेड, whatever little time we lost, we have made up for that, and now in the coming next quarter or so, I think we'll be able to make up. The center, then your next question was the metro. No, metro. देखिए metro का ऐसा है, we have to be very careful. We could have started the metro even earlier, and we could have even allowed it to operate on pre-COVID levels, but the safeguards came from our side. Metro pre-COVID had a ridership on a good day of something like 65 lakhs. Today, if I'm not mistaken, we are doing 25 lakhs.
In Delhi, sir.
In Delhi, I'm talking about Delhi.
Delhi करीब 22 लाख तक आ गया, sir.
We've almost up to 22 lakhs in Delhi. I think Mangu Singh ji has no problem. He can actually open it up, but we want to do it slowly so that the protocols are in place and that this doesn't. Look, I've had this difficulty on civil aviation side. We completely closed domestic civil aviation. We opened on 25th May with 30,000. Yesterday's passengers, 273,000. So we're going back to pre-COVID levels. You have to keep protocols in place. There will be complaints here. Somebody's not following the protocol. But by and large, metro throughout the country, the opening has been slow. It can be done further, but we are going to do it when we have a comfort level. And I think total metro level overall was 85 lakhs a day.
85 lakhs, today it is around 25.
No, it's 25. Delhi was 65, it's 22 or so. So, isko sab leke, if you have any other interest in details, I can help you get those. There was a question which...
Central Vista project.
मैं आ रहा हूँ, एक मिनट पर मेट्रो पे है. एक कुछ आप लोगों में से किसी ने प्रेस रिलीज DT Metro had written a letter for some finances because their activities are down. I just want to assure you, take this opportunity. Things are well within control, and there is no apprehension of Metro functioning being undermined. Look, when there is a total closure, all stakeholders get something. On my civil aviation side, the airports say that the airlines have not paid them. Airlines said, well, they haven't operated. We are managing, and we are managing quite well. Insofar as Central Vista costing is concerned, I think that was your question. Let me just say, much of the figures that you see bandied in the press are gross exaggerations. And it gives the impression as if we are building the Central Vista, which is overdue by 70 years, as if we are stopping some other program to build it. That's not the case. In a country of India's size, which pre-COVID had an overall GDP of $2.8 trillion, you know, if you were, I don't know what the overall cost is going to be. The cost will be absorbed by each of the ministries in their own budgets, and it is being done with very strict scrutiny. And in fact, the overall award of the tenders, the thing is much below what was the original estimation. What the figure comes out at the overall, I am not going to speculate, but it is way below what is being discussed. And each of the budgets, will absorb it. Each ministry's budget will absorb it. But there is another factor I want to add. We are spending currently something like 1,000 crores per year, not hundreds of crores as is being speculated. 1,000 crore on rentals. We have this somewhat surprising situation. Government is the landowner, and the landowner is paying rent for housing its own people. So if, say, we have spent 1,000 crores a year, in fact, the overall cost of the Central Vista project can even be recovered from the amount of expenditure we are incurring, quite apart from the inefficiency of having one government department housed in 6 different buildings throughout the fair. So making for efficiency, making for environmental thing. You don't know how much of energy saving will come from the new buildings that are being constructed, and the kind of buildings, both in terms of lessening the atmospheric toxicity because of green buildings and so on.
So Deepak Das, Times of India, please. पीछे वहाँ देना mic.
Sir, I have a question which is quite repetitive, but I'm asking a question primarily because it's a larger impact on this entire, public consultation. On public consultation. Unfortunately, not just in this project, in every project, every government notification, we see that there is a gazette notification. Few people put their suggestion, objection. I'm not just talking about your project, across all infrastructure projects or any notification that government puts. But the world never comes to know how many people objected, how many people supported. Government never publishes them. Suddenly, then we find a final notification saying, going through the suggestion, objection, and everything, government has finally decided, which is quite similar to the draft. I'm just asking a question primarily because you deal with urban development ministry, which is more to deal with public participation. That's what all about urban development is. Are you looking at some kind of change in the future that at least in any case, where there is a lot of people's interest, we should go beyond just putting a notification and give the details? Yeah.
Deepak, I take your point, and I just share with you that I'm not only sensitive to what you're saying, but I also request you to please pay heed to what I have been saying all along. This is a lesson I was taught very early in my professional career. I was taught the distinction between discussion and negotiation, between consultation and agreement. I think consultation is inherent in all that we do. If the suggestion is that some parts of us are not consulting widely enough, we are quite happy to correct that. Which means one of two things. Consultation, there are provisions for consultations. Consultations have been held. And what Secretary and I discussed a few days ago, and which he will be implementing very comprehensively, we will put in the public domain all the consultations we've already had. Many of these are audio, visually documented, and going forward. I have personally, and I say personally, invited people over in different parts of the city, Pravasi Bharati Divas, what is that center? Yeah, we have had discussions with editors there, with you know, the consultant. We have had, the consultant has individually met people. We are ready to widen that. Equally, we will, I think in the next few days, have a website which will have all the details of the product. But please bear with me, I think some of us, some of them including my friends, they are construing consultation to meet that some of them, even though they've been consulted, that they have a veto riding power on the process. This, I'm afraid, in a democracy is not the idea. Let me explain to you. No, can I complete this? I can explain to you. I can sit here with 30 of you. I can tell you this is the project and we are going ahead with it. We have consulted one Indian newspaper from Delhi has had an Adda session. Somebody has had some closed door. Somebody's had that. We are willing to do that even more comprehensively. We are putting all that in there. But you know, if you sit with me and see the kind of communications I receive, they are not on consultation. Some of them are on fundamentals, like, why do you need a new parliament building? No, this is a misplaced priority. Please, a democratically elected government, irrespective of how many seats it has in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, has to make the determination whether the time has come for a new parliament building. Okay, that is the executive's responsibility. This government has, the Prime Minister personally, has decided to assume that responsibility. If it had not been, it should have been done 10 years ago. If you ask me, if you look at the state, I can take you through the minutes of the Estimates Committee of Parliament in the year of the Lord 1985, where you see there's a full session on maintenance of the building. All right, let's not go into that. If 1985 you were talking about maintenance, today, I mean, there has been enough material put in the public domain which shows what the state of the building is. It's in an advanced stage of disrepair. We have to rectify that. So these people, if after the whole process of consultation, they come back and say, no, I don't agree, you don't need a new parliament building. I'm polite by nature. I'm a Democrat, I listen to people, but there comes a time when it says, you know, you cannot have a situation my way or the highway. I mean, it's a government is elected, government has to assume responsibility, and government will assume that. But I have always said, we welcome all opinions. In fact, the whole project has an inbuilt flexibility in terms of how to take views on board. Some very, very eminent people, I don't want to embarrass them, who started off by being critics of the project, not only came back, but we are drawing great strength from them. And that same invitation is open to anyone else. But I'll now request the Secretary to add to this. Consultation part, yeah.
So, Deepak, there are two things which I would like to say. One is a legal requirement. For example, I just give example, say change of the land use. There is a section 11A of the Delhi Development Act provides for there is a public notice, public consultation, and then 2 levels of the authority. All these are mentioned under the law and the rules. So legal consultation, the notification comes. All those who have some views on it, they react to those. Then they are heard, papers are understood, comprehended by the committee, and then they are put up to the certain committee for approval. So this is a legal consultation. And this is being done, you will find that nowhere it is violated. This is one. 2, other than that, what kind of consultation? I can assure you, I can say with full confidence that the kind of consultation this ministry is having in various programs, I don't think this amount of consultation has ever been done. For example, recently you are all aware about the Model Tenancy Act. We have had consultation from the public for a long time, 3 months, we got the views, finalized this. Now that law has been translated into all the languages in the country, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Assami, Bangla, Punjabi, Gujarati, all these languages, and they will put on their website and our website. We have again sought opinion. Many states we have got 0 comments, but we have gone for that consultation. the amount of consultation which was done in the smart city, nearly 1 crore people were consulted for formation of the smart city. It's all documented. Nowhere the programs are drawn by that. Atal Mission for Urban Rejuvenation and Transformation is a huge consultation. All the slips which have been prepared for the city and the state, it has come through the lot of consultation about, because the objective was very clear. This is what you are supposed to do. And it took almost 1 year to come to do these processes, to come to the schemes were not, there was a need. The government thought that, well, we'll have a smart city. We could have a smart city long back. But it took a long process, long drawn process to come to that. The Swachh Bharat mission is nothing but consultation, consultation and consultation. There is a huge amount of consultation which happens in the Swachh Bharat mission. This is Jan Andolan. On our urban transport projects, if you take metro projects, you find there is so much of debate, discussions inside the city, and we have also changed. Whether it is the Pune metro, whether it is the Nagpur metro, whether it is, various places, we have, after the due consultation, certain alignments have been changed also. So there is a large amount, and these are the consultations which are not required under law. These are the consultation process which is become inherent. Let me share with you, this is the way government functions now, and the directions were right from the top, right from the beginning, because I've been additional secretary in the ministry, right from the beginning, the government started, that the direction from the top that we must come to anything only after due consultation. In all our, you must have participated in our smart city discussions, there we say, even while you are doing the work, the public should be duly consulted so that they feel owner of the project, they are not no more the projects of the engineers, they are the projects of the people. So that's the way of thinking.
Let me just add something. In fact, you can go a step further. The Smart Cities project, I'm just giving you an example, I can give you many other examples. The project itself is anchored in citizen feedback. Which projects to take up has come from the people. That's how it was there. It is not that we sat in Delhi and said, XY smart city ho jayega. People produced designs, they sent it. That's how the 100 cities were chosen. And today, also in the implementation, there is a very robust system of interactive give and take going on with them. So I think, let me just put it this way. The overall atmospheric politics is such that, if you can't peg it on something more substantive, say consultation nahi hua. As I said, I started by saying, Durga ji and I did, सारा जो consultation जो required है और जो नहीं भी required है, वो भी we will put in the public domain. And as I said, this is an open house. How many times do we have these press conferences? Please tell me. I've been on each of the three ministries, apart from the parliamentary consultative committees, etc. And I had one for Urban Affairs 2 days ago. I have one for Commerce tomorrow. I keep meeting all of you in small groups. But if anybody has suggestions, we're still open to them. But the consultations are being carried out. Let there be no mistake. But consultation means we will listen to everyone. The good ideas will be taken on board. But if somebody has an idea which is not fitting into the mainstream, he or she can't turn around and say, okay, no, this has to be done. It is a question of wide acceptability on that.
So Damini Nath from Hindu, please. Can somebody make a mic to her?
Madam ko do.
Sir, I want to ask you about the PM Uday scheme. About, I think, 3,000 people have got their deeds and about 5,000 or so have been rejected. So firstly, are you satisfied with the progress? And if not, what are the changes or targets that you have for the scheme for the coming year? And then the second question, sir, is about the housing for artists and other groups. What is your stand on this? Will this scheme be sort of changed? Will it be done away with? And just generally, what do you think about the government giving housing to different groups like that?
Well, let me two questions. I think the first one is the unauthorized colonies regularization. Well, I think when we did our basic homework on it, we predicated our thinking that about 50 lakh people or so, 50 lakh people live in what are called unauthorized colonies. There were about 1,790 of them or so. No, which we agreed to, but there was 50, 60, which, yeah, 70, 97. If this is correct, then, and these are all working hypotheses, then it means you need 8 lakhs people roughly to register, thereabouts. Because this is on the basis that every house would have 5 people living in it, 8 to 10 maximum. So the number of people who've registered, my last count is, I think, 3.6 lakhs. Would I have been happier if this, instead of 3.6, the figure was 5 or 5.5? Yes, I would have been happier. But the question arises, in the absence of development norms, which we are now coming up with in March, and there has been a little slack there, people who are living in these colonies and there's protection against demolition, okay, they don't have the same incentive to go and register. The minute the development norms are there, you see, Malkana Haq is a very big thing. You have this piece of paper, whatever the figure is. Once you have that, you can go to a bank and seek a loan. But today, in a pandemic environment, when there is, people not moving out, maybe there has been a slowdown in the number of registrations. I like to make the point that in spite of the pandemic, still people are coming forward and registering. We are reviewing the situation. When we brought in that Special Powers Act recently in an ordinance, and I'll be presenting the bill in Parliament, we reviewed the situation, and we came to the conclusion that maybe that pace needs to pick up a bit. And my own view is that picking up will take place once you have the development norm, when people know. You see, if somebody's living in a house which is unauthorized, as long as he or she has the threat of demolition on their head, they will want to get it regularized. But you're already providing protection, so we need to balance that out, and I think the speed will pick up. My own view is that another year, year and a half, we should be able to complete it totally to get the desired number of people whose unauthorized places of residence will be given Malkana Haq. Okay. Your second question was on, what was it? Yes, culture. Look, this is a scheme which was started by the Ministry of Culture many years ago, where people who are eminent in the field of arts and culture, etc., would be given government housing, provided, if memory serves me right, their income was not for a limited period of time, and their income was not beyond a certain amount. It's a very low threshold. No, usse bhi kam thi. Check kar lenge wo. They said 20,000 rupees income. Now, what happened is, over a period of time, many of these eminent people, they ran up huge amounts of arrears. So what I think the intention was that you would have a one-time kind of a waiver which was authorized, so that many of these artists would have bill spending going into crore of rupees, etc. So do we do that? And then, since the purpose for which the initial allotment was done, that purpose had been more than served, then maybe they will vacate. So there are people there. I know some of them feel aggrieved, etc. But this is something on which the Ministry of Culture will have to take a call. I don't intend. I don't want anybody to feel that we are not assuming responsibility. But we don't make the policy on that. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs is primarily dealing with other issues. These are eminent cultural people, and I think the Culture Minister and others are seized of it. And I think the due date was 31st December. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Dipali Nanda, CNBC.
Hey, 1 minute, if you want to.
Yeah, on this PM Uday, you may be aware that the scheme, initially we had a registration system which Honorable Minister mentioned that some 3.6 lakh people got registered. But the pandemic was onset immediately after that. So this whole thing, the people who are dealing in a different kind of thing. Now we have reviewed all these things recently, and it is going to take up. Again, the DDA is working on a strategy apart from developing for which you must have seen in newspapers. The development control norms have come up in the newspapers for the public consultation. Again, Deepak's point of view, this is a legal requirement, so it has already come on the public consultation. Once those things are finalized, and the DDA is working out its strategy through which this can be enhanced in multiple ways. There are many ways. I had one round of consultation we'll have further more reviews and consultations so that this can pick up very fast.
I mean, if the pandemic hadn't intervened, we might have completed it. But then those are, if this had not happened. But even with the pandemic, even with all those things, 3.6, I review the thing every day, put it in social media also. I think with the development control norms is the main thing. Once those are announced and we start implementing them, then suddenly the rate will go up from 3.6 to much higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Dipali from CNBC.
Yes, sir. I'm Dipali from CNBC आवाज. मेरे 2 से 3 सवाल है. पहला सवाल मेरा ये है कि अगर हम पेंडेमिक की बात करें तो हर एक सेक्टर पर इसका असर.
Dipali, can you please mute slow? Dipali, थोड़ा slow बोलिए और जोर से बोलिए जरा.
ओके, मैं आगे आ जाती हूँ.
ये आगे आ जाइए आप.
ओके.
हाँ.
सर, अब आवाज आ रही है?
माइक, ये मास्क उठा लीजिए, मास्क निकाल लीजिए आप. हाँ.
सर, पहला सवाल मेरा ये है कि अगर हम इस कोरोना के वक्त की बात करें, हर एक सेक्टर पर इसका इम्पैक्ट दिखा है. खासतौर पर अगर हम रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर की बात करें, रेजिडेंशियल मार्केट की, तो पिछले 2 क्वार्टर से 30 to 40% सेल डिक्लाइन हुई है. कई बार इस बात का जिक्र सेक्रेटरी सर कर चुके हैं कि हम स्टेट्स को कहेंगे कि वो स्टैम्प ड्यूटी में रिडक्शन करें. अगर हम इस नए साल की बात करें तो क्या आप एक बार फिर से रिकमेंड करेंगे डेवलपर्स को टू कट द कॉस्ट और टू स्टेट्स टू रिड्यूस द स्टैम्प ड्यूटी? पहला सवाल मेरा ये है. दूसरा सवाल मेरा मॉडल टेनेंसी एक्ट को लेकर है. ड्राफ्ट हम सब लोगों ने देखा है. कब तक इसका अप्रूवल से लेकर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्टेज पर हम आते हुए देखेंगे? सेक्रेटरी सर ने इस बात का जिक्र किया कि स्मार्ट सिटी मिशन की बात करें तो काफी लंबा वक्त लगा. तो क्या अभी और इंतजार करना पड़ेगा, वक्त लगेगा? क्योंकि कई सारे ऐसे स्टेट्स हैं जिन्होंने 0 कमेंट दिए हैं, जो अपनी रुचि नहीं दिखा रहे हैं. तीसरा सवाल मेरा रेरा को लेकर है कि इस बात का भी जिक्र कई बार मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से हुआ है कि कई सारे चेंजेस हम लोग प्रपोज कर रहे हैं टू मेक इट मोर इफेक्टिव. तो किस तरह के चेंजेस हैं? और जो स्टेट्स लेवल पर कई सारे स्टेट्स में दिक्कत है कि वहाँ पर टेक्निकल कमेटी में मेंबर्स पूरे नहीं हैं, कई सारे पद अभी भी खाली हैं, क्या इन सारी शॉर्ट कमिंग्स को रेरा में पूरा करने के लिए कुछ स्टेप उठाए जाएंगे? थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू. आपने 3 इश्यूज पे सवाल उठाए. पहले तो रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर की जो स्थिति है, 2 ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो हमारे मंत्रालय के साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं, क्रेडाई और नारेटको. मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ, जब मेरी उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन हुई, वो तो मुझसे ये कहते हैं कि ये जो पिछली दिवाली वाज द बेस्ट इन 20 years. नाउ आई एम कमिंग. अब उसका क्या कारण है? क्योंकि हमने पत्र लिखे हैं अलग स्टेट्स के मुख्यमंत्रियों को, बाकियों को स्टैम्प ड्यूटी हटाने के लिए, कम करने के लिए. जो भी है, कई स्टेट्स में where the builders have also taken advantage and offloaded their inventory, the situation has improved vastly. Like, I can tell you, Maharashtra is a case in point. I have reviewed those figures in consultation with the industry association. Some of the developments in the neighborhood of Delhi, yes, there are some improvement. Some places there's no improvement. But it's a very interesting mix. Some state governments have, maybe in pursuance of our request or maybe on their own, they have also taken the measures to take such steps as to encourage revival in the real estate district. But if you ask me personally, overall, I think the situation is much better in the real estate sector, and that's shown by the inventories coming down, by all other indicators which I can share with you, but that will take a long time. Your second question was on Model Tenancy Act. As I said, it's in a very advanced stage. We had sent the template to the state governments, etc. It's not only the Model Tenancy Act. If you look at the sector as a whole, construction per se, those who own houses or those who buy them, Model Tenancy Act, for which the states will have to do the implementation, which we have been working on for a long time, and now affordable rental housing. If you look at all three together, you see the kind of change which is taking place. Insofar as RERA is concerned, RERA has really shown and demonstrated its effectiveness. I have had an opportunity only 3-4 days ago to review it. We are coming up, I think, on an anniversary of RERA also. I will be writing on this issue also. Today, first of all, RERA is accepted. RERA went through challenges first from a large number of things. The number of people who tried to undermine, subvert RERA is legion. I think someday a book will have to be written on it. But we met all those challenges. The Honorable Supreme Court directed the Mumbai High Court to deal with those challenges. We overcame that. Today, RERA is being effectively implemented. जो आप बात करिए कोई appellate body कहीं नहीं बनी या कहीं technical member committee में नहीं है. Look, these are administrative things. Even for, I mean, today RERA is such a far-sighted and such a visionary piece of legislation. पहली बात तो हैरानगी है मुझे कि 70 साल after our independence, we didn't have a regulator in this sector. And if you look at real estate, it is both in terms of employment, generation of economic activity. It's one of the most important sector. So I'll just stop with that, but I'll request Secretary to fill in the this thing and give you his perspective.
Well, stamp duty apart from Maharashtra, Karnataka has also reduced. Gujarat has also reduced. And it is in my knowledge, other states, it is in the process. It is in the process. I have sent 2 letters to the states. Honorable Minister has sent one. And in my discussion with the state government principal secretaries, we keep mentioning this because this has proved well. And apart from that, what Honorable Minister mentioned, some of the builders have also given this, concession. Instead of what the state government, they were given concession of 2% so that it induces buyers to buy. So this is already being pursued. About the Model Tenancy Act, you are rightly saying that we have received no comment from some of the states, but we also received few comments from some of the states who are translating them back to English because I can't understand Tamil. So Tamil has to come in English so that I can interpret it and use what to accept, what not to accept, and how this can be done. It is in the process. I think within a month or so it should be, we should be taking it to the Union Cabinet for its approval and sending it to the state. May a month or 2. I can say by March, definitely it should be through. The third thing about the RERA changes, yes, we have already have a lot of consultation and certain things have emerged. So we are working on it. Very soon we should be finalizing what changes are required. These are the changes which are difficulties. These are difficulties being faced by
just elaborate क्योंकि ये तो कई बार हम लोगों
So नहीं वो हम elaborate इसलिए नहीं करेंगे कि these things has to be finalized and go to the cabinet and then go for the once it comes to the public domain then I can tell you.
And also I want to say something. जो आप सवाल पूछ रही हैं, sometimes this comes up from the apprehension कि हम RERA को dilute करने जा रहे हैं. ये बिल्कुल नहीं है. I have made it clear many times. RERA is here to stay. And RERA, both in letter and spirit, will be consolidated. There is no question of any dilution because it is now demonstrating the very, very beneficial impact that it is producing. And it has introduced discipline both amongst the dispute resolution under RERA. एक तो ये था कि ये सिर्फ one-sided होगा, नहीं, both sides. Both the builders and the home buyers are beginning to now appreciate the virtue of RERA.
Thank you.
So last question, Vandana from Money Control.
Last minute funding.
So,
Yeah. Last mile. Yeah.
Last mile, yeah. So what is the progress on that? And my second question is got to do with giving industry status to the real estate sector. Now, have any steps been taken in that direction?
I think insofar as encouraging the private sector to also come up with Swami Fund, also in fact others, not only our private sector, even from others. We are in the process of talking to them. Baki, I'd request Secretary to, if he wants to answer this, what further things you want to give to the real estate sector?
Already, sir, there's so many things which have been done for the real estate sector. If you just list it out, it will fill up 3-4 pages.
But we will give you a listing.
But this listing is a huge thing. But continuously, whatever is coming from the NAREDCO and CREDAI, as sir mentioned, these are the 2 federating bodies. We keep getting input from them. Based on what is reasonable, we have been recommending because it lies in somebody else's domain. We try to get those things because any kind of reforms which is there that will help the real estate sector to grow is a priority of the government. I mean, you must have seen the last 5-6 years continuously because it pushes employment, it pushes so many other industries. 270 industries are directly or indirectly pushed by this single real estate sector. So that's a priority.
Okay, last question, Anisha from Hindustan Times. HT, please.
So, as per the Supreme Court judgment, one of the recommendations made by the Supreme Court in the judgment on the Central Vista project was to send a proposal to the Heritage Conservation Committee. Has Ministry sent a proposal and has it been cleared?
It has been cleared today. It has been cleared today. It has been sent, discussed and cleared. The minutes are there.
So, what I wanted to ask was, wasn't it mandatory to have a public hearing in that?
No, Heritage Conservation Committee, there is no public hearing. There is a Heritage Conservation Committee headed by the Additional Secretary in the Ministry. There are certain officials from the different organizations and there are certain experts from the outside. They are the one who look into what is provided under our unified building bylaws as a part of the for preserving the heritage. Those things are seen and based on that they they accept, reject or suggest certain modifications. So this has been examined today, there has been detailed discussion and after discussion it has been approved today by the Heritage Conservation Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
नहीं, it was only the Parliament building. केवल Parliament building का ही जो है आप वो जो मैडम पूछ रही है वो she is only asking about the Supreme Court's recent order in which one of the para was a mandate to get clearance from the Heritage Conservation Committee, which was not done earlier. Because our interpretation was there is no Heritage Conservation Committee jurisdiction come only if there is a heritage building which has been notified as a building or as a precinct.
We were constructing a new one, so the old heritage is not being affected. So it was a nuance of interpretation.
Because the Supreme Court gave an order,
we
have followed that, and then the minutes will be there in the public domain. You can see that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Please join me for a cup of tea outside. Thank you so much.